welcome to Deeply Curious. My name is Cody Jensen, and joining me in our New York City studio apartment is my wife, Sarah.
Hello.
In this episode, we're going to talk about some embarrassing stories.
Yeah.
Have a few on deck. We'll see where it goes. Not quite sure. But before we jump into that, I just want to let you know that this podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp.com/Jensen. If you don't know, BetterHelp.com is an affordable private online counseling service with unlimited access to licensed therapists. And it's a super simple to sign up. You just fill out a questionnaire and you're matched with a licensed therapist and you begin counseling as quickly as that day. Mm-hmm. And face-to-face counseling usually costs $150 to $250 per session, but BetterHelp.com/Jensen can be affordable as $35 a week.
It's amazing.
You must be 18 or older to use the service, and it is a weekly counseling service, not a crisis line. There is a link in the show notes, or just go to BetterHelp.com/Jensen and begin your road to health.
Yes.
Today. Okay. Today's show. We were talking earlier. We have this discussion. We typically, behind the scenes for you, typically we record in Sunday afternoon for Tuesday's show, is how it's been going. And Sunday morning on our walk to church, one of us will bring it up of, what do we want to podcast about today?
Yep.
And we both say, I don't know. What do you think we should podcast about today? So we decided for this podcast to just do a little bit of story time and see where it goes. We typically will have conversations and they end up always going somewhere.
Definitely somewhere.
With something. Like last episode, episode 17, If Anything Goes Viral. In that episode, we started with talking about, does anything actually go viral? And a piece of a book that I had read. And then by the end of that conversation, we were deep into Sarah's mind on whether or not she truly believes that her work has value.
Yeah.
So you never know where conversations are going to start. And I figured, the last 2 or 3 episodes have been a little more heavier on the content. So going to do just a little bit of storytelling.
Yeah.
We'll see where we end up.
Pretty much.
So as far as embarrassing stories, I do not embarrass easily.
Right.
I think maybe it's because like I am confident in like who I am or something, and I've always been like a kind of goofball. Like as a kid, I was always like class clown. Like
you're also quick-witted, so like. If something happens, you immediately you spin it.
Yeah. So I can spin things like even if in that second, like I said something that would have been embarrassing, but
right.
maybe I spun it around and it wasn't as embarrassing or something.
Whereas I'm the opposite. I get embarrassed about everything because I don't want people to pay attention to me. And I'll think of something that I said in a regular conversation from 10 years ago and still be embarrassed about it. It's absurd.
Yes. Sarah, I don't know why. I mean,
I am terrified of being embarrassed. I don't know what it is. Like I guess it's probably that I really I'm not good at being like the center of attention, and that usually when you're embarrassed, everybody's attention is on you, right? I don't know if that's why, but I have a real fear of being like humiliated or embarrassed. So much so that I just like keep quiet pretty much all the time.
Well, I feel like we all have like a basic
I know,
fear
but
of no, I don't think anybody relishes in being embarrassed.
No, I know, but it legitimately, I think like, I should say something in this conversation. Oh, but I don't know actually if this will come off right or if I'm going to say something stupid, because usually that's what happens when I talk is like I just like fumble over my words. And so I just don't do anything. I don't know.
So your fear of embarrassment is holding you back.
Or saving me.
From embarrassment, but what, like, if you
I still
had...
live a good life.
If you had more embarrassing moments, we'd have more stories to tell in this podcast.
Yeah, but I'd be embarrassed about telling them.
But it's still
so
fun.
I wouldn't tell them because I've told embarrassing stories before. Like he asked me for this podcast. He was like, let's tell embarrassing stories. I literally can't think of one. That's how much I try to not get embarrassed. Like I don't have one specific story that's like, oh my gosh, this is the most embarrassing thing I've ever done. I don't have that I can think of. Because I try so hard for that to not happen. But like, even just like recounting a story that I thought was like maybe embarrassing and I'm telling somebody, that actually becomes my most embarrassing moment. I'm like, why did I say this out loud? I'm such an idiot.
I just thought of probably your most embarrassing moment in your life, and we'll get to that after I tell my stories.
Okay.
I was trying to rack my brain earlier of something like other embarrassing things, and it wasn't necessarily an embarrassing thing that you specifically did, but it was very embarrassing for you, and I'm excited to tell it.
Embarrassing for... See, that makes me feel embarrassed. What? I'm very confused.
But first, we will... I was thinking about like my most embarrassing moments, and like I said, I don't get embarrassed easy, so I feel like as far as I can remember, maybe at some point I'll remember something else, but as far as I can remember, this is like the most actual embarrassed, like I felt it throughout my body.
Mm-hmm.
like I felt very embarrassed in this moment. This was probably 7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, somewhere around there. It was quite a while ago. It was when we were first living in Tulsa. We were living in the same house with Sarah's brother and sister-in-law, his wife. So
yeah.
Duncan and Jess, and we were like, we were all best friends, and we all went to the lake together. And we're like out and we're camping, and we're just like, doing all the campy things at the Oklahoma lake.
Mm-hmm.
And that night, it came, and it was like crazy dark. And I don't know, I was just being stupid, being silly or something. And we were just talking about like how dark it is. And I went down by the water away from our little campsite. And this is only like, I don't know, like 20 yards or something. I mean, maybe not even that far. Like it was pretty dang close. But we'll just go for 20 yards for the story.
Mm-hmm.
And the three of them were like, we can barely see you. And I was like, I'm totally naked right now. And they're like, no, you're not. And I was like, I actually wasn't. But then I turned around to moon them, and I pulled my pants down. And I was like, I'm actually have my pants down. And they're like, we can't see anything. And so then I just like ran into the water and just started skinny dipping. And then the three of them came out to swim, and so we like started skinny dipping, except for Sarah because of her fear of embarrassment in any possible way.
Yep.
To take the risk and free herself.
I'll take risks in different ways.
Yeah. Calculate risk that the calculation is very clear.
No,
I probably won't embarrass myself in this moment.
I assess situations and I say, is this going to be potentially embarrassing? Yes, I won't do it.
But it was so dark that like
you couldn't see anything.
You could barely see your own hand in front of your face. So it was like the perfect skinny dipping scenario. Mm. Sarah still is out.
Yeah.
So I mean that lasts.
I also refuse to fall into peer pressure. That's probably some of it too.
That's true.
Because Cody pressures me to do things all the time, and I refuse to do anything out of peer pressure. So.
I try to get you to step out of your comfort zone, which pushes you back. No, it doesn't even push you into your comfort zone. It's more so you're in your comfort zone, and you have a large bucket of spite that you can pour out at any time.
That's true. And I'm just not peer pressured. That's never been a thing that I've struggled with.
So. And even if you try to use reverse psychology,
doesn't work.
No, I know what you're doing.
Yep.
I'll do what I want. Even if that is something that I really want to do,
I'll do it later.
I will not do it right now because I know that you specifically want me to do that thing.
Yep. I'm not embarrassed embarrassed to say that about myself.
You should be.
So I can be spiteful. Whatever.
Anyways, we skinny dip. I mean, it's probably only like 10 minutes. It gets, I don't know, it was like,
it was nothing.
Boring.
Yeah.
Like it's
because what do you do?
I mean, after the moment of like you did that, like okay, like
Who cares?
I'm like naked in this really dark lake that is probably disgusting. And then you're just like, okay, well, let's go back and eat some marshmallows or something. So that happened. Then it was the next day. The morning sun had come and we are all out in the water and we're just like floating and swimming and, you know, doing whatever you do at a Oklahoma lake with no boat. And we
which is not much.
Yeah. So I was out there wading in the water.
Yeah. You can't even like body surf or anything because there's no waves.
Yes. And if you, I mean, I'm sure every lake in Oklahoma is man-made. And the dirt in Oklahoma is super red. And so almost every single lake in Oklahoma is
gross.
Incredibly dirty. As far as
like stains, if you have white on your swimsuit, stains it brown.
Yes.
That's how dirty it is.
So you cannot see anything. So if you have a fear of bodies of water where you cannot see what is in the water, Oklahoma lakes are not for you.
No, they are not.
You can't even see, like if you put your arm into the water, you can't even see your hand, let alone see your feet. Yeah. So that is kind of painting the picture for you. And in that moment, my 3-year-old self thought, oh, it'd be hilarious if I told them I was skinny dipping right now because now it's in the middle of the day. We'd already broken the ice the night before, and they can't see anything anyway. I mean, it's so dirty. Yeah. Well, they started to kind of float further out, and I stayed a little bit back, and there was a good like distance away from us that even if you could see something, you couldn't see something because they were so far away. And so I kick off my shorts, and my plan is that I'll say like, I'm skinny dipping. They'll respond with something like, no, you're not, and you don't believe me. And I will then at that moment kick my shorts up and they'll float to the top, and then, you know, we'll all laugh, and, you know, there's that dumb joke. Well, turns into kick the shorts off. I have them, you know, near me in my hand so I can throw them, you know, push them up. And I say, hey guys, I'm skinny dipping, or whatever I said. And they were like, hey, no, you're not. And then with my hand, or my foot, I remember, I like push them, like, you know, thrust them towards the top, and they never make it. And I like look down, they don't, like, I have no physical contact with my swimming trunks in this moment. They are not rising to the top. I am like looking down at the water. I cannot see anything. I look up towards them. They see my face that I'm obviously making. And then I dive underwater, and I am just frantically waving my arms like a madman, just like trying to figure out where these shorts are. I can't see anything because the water is so murky. And then I'm like diving everywhere, and just, I mean, you can't open your eyes like and see anything under there. And so I feel like I'm like diving under for a long time trying to find them. I don't know. It's probably only like 20, 30 seconds at most. And then I resolve to the fact that they're gone. They're gone. I am now naked in the middle of the day in a lake, not near the beach. And I like look up at Sarah, and I'm like, I need you to go get me a towel.
And I was just doubled over laughing hysterically. Because you're never embarrassed, and you've never up until that point been like, I've never actually seen you embarrassed, because it's impossible to embarrass you. And then just the look on your face was so so classic. And just you're so shy, bashful, like, I need a towel. I could not handle it. It was the best moment.
Yeah, so that is probably the most embarrassing moment that I can think of that I have had. But that did remind me that actually wasn't my first skinny dipping experience. Oh, that it basically almost the same story. I feel like way less embarrassing, probably. I don't remember how I felt in the moment, but if you are not aware of my history and backstory, my parents actually own a water park in the small town that I grew up in. And so I grew up living at a water park. I mean, every single summer, every single day, 8+ hours a day. Well, I had this ragtag group of friends from the water park that were like the kids that were dropped off by their parents every day. And like, you know, those were the people that end up like hanging out with some. And it was like after we closed. Yeah, definitely. It was after we closed and we're all, probably 10 or something, like, you know, just adolescent boys being stupid. And we decided that we're going to skinny dip. So we're like all in the pool. And we all like take off our swimming trunks and throw them up on the side. And we're like, you know, free.
I just
Because
really
I'm free.
don't understand the like, I mean, it's because it's like freeing and like not normal, you know what I mean? Like it's not accepted, I guess, in society, and that's why skinny dipping is such a thing. I don't understand it. It's actually the exact same. Is it not?
You've never tried it. You don't know. It's like, you know how much you enjoy showers? It's like showering with nature, you know? You're just out. As God intended.
Whatever. Continue.
So we're all, you know, little boys snickering and laughing and all this stuff. Well, a couple of them, they decide that it would be hilarious to jump out of the pool, grab my shorts, and run them as far away as possible. And I'm like screaming at them, like, you know, to bring them back. And they go and they take my swimming trunks and they go take them inside of the, you know, the place where like you buy your tickets and your concessions and all that. My dad is in there like doing the accounting or whatever he, you know, did after we closed like for the day. And they put my shorts in this like the room like with him. And so now I'm like, I have to get out of the pool butt naked and walk the length of the water park, run the length of the water park, go inside. And I don't say anything to my dad. He didn't even look up. So maybe he didn't know. I have no idea. Never talked about it. But I like ran in there. I grabbed my shorts and ran out. It's like,
see, that's what I'm saying. Assess situations and figure out if there's an embarrassing scenario. If there is, don't do it.
Yeah, but guess what I have that you don't?
A story.
Exactly.
Apparently, I do have a story that I don't know about, though.
You do have a story that you don't know about. You do know about it. As soon as I start telling it,
I'm going to know, and I'm going to get really embarrassed and really red, and my voice is going to shake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're...
probably going to cry, because...
I don't know if you'll cry, but you'll definitely may not want me to tell it.
Well, it's kind of the whole thing. You're not giving me any choice here.
No, of course not.
Which is so unfair and makes me embarrassed just thinking about it. Because if I make you not share the story, then we have no podcast.
Yep, here
it goes. Is that what we're saying?
Diving in.
Oh, gosh.
My
heart is racing.
I know, but you're going to know what it is almost as soon as I start talking.
He's snickering like a little boy.
So...
I'm just like hate how much you're laughing right now.
Well, because as soon as you know, it's less funny because you're more embarrassed right now not knowing what it is.
Yeah.
Even though you're going to be pretty embarrassed whenever I start telling that whenever we were dating.
I think I know. It's the story you tell all of our friends, and I hate that you tell them. It's so unfair. I get no choice in the matter. It's just so unfair.
You have a choice.
No, I don't. Look what you're doing to me right now.
May I tell the story?
I can't say no, or we don't have a podcast.
Well, we don't have to put a podcast out today.
Marriage Counseling 101 right here. I mean, you've told it to enough people. What's the internet going to do, you know?
Because it's an incredible story.
To you. Let's preface.
I feel like maybe I've built it up too much now, but who cares? So
I think you just really love it because of how embarrassed I am by it.
Yeah, probably.
We should go to counseling about that.
BetterHelp.com/ginseng. So we were, when we were dating, we were probably, I think we were driving at this point. So probably 16, 17.
Probably 17.
17. And if you don't know our backstory, we've been dating since we were like 3 years old. And so we
basically,
we had been like together for at least a couple years, best friends for a while at this point, moving definitely towards the way of marriage. And also
we have to preface this by, well, go ahead.
So we're in love, hey, and we're 17 years old, and we're just in love, and my mom is not home, and we're in my room like we're not supposed to be, because my mom, knows what 17-year-olds do whenever they're home alone in bedrooms, and so
I just thought my parents might listen to this. I don't think they know that.
Hey, Brad. Hey, Trisha.
Oh, God.
This is a great story of my mom leaving us home alone.
This is a story of, actually, I've just decided I'm not going to be embarrassed by this story anymore, because this is a story that proves how not attentive you were to me. This is all on you. This is all your fault.
I am not. I'm telling the story exactly how it is.
I know. I'm not saying you aren't. I'm saying I'm deciding not to be embarrassed by it because you were just rude.
Okay. Well, we can return to that moment.
Okay.
But we're 17.
Yeah.
We're in my bedroom, and we are. What's funny is like we grew up in church, and so like we are trying to live our best life, and not engage into sexual activities before we're married, and so we are skirting the line like good Christian boys and girls do. We're
a little more than like, skirting the line.
Hey, what are the rules? So I can
we're trying to find those
I can get right up next to it and you. So we're trying to stay within the rules. We're not going to have sex before we're married. So
but what's defined sex?
At the moment, whenever we just intercourse is sex. But we decide, I don't know, through the course of whatever was happening, making out and stuff, we decide that I was like, I'm gonna give you a massage.
Yeah.
Like a good boyfriend, I'm gonna give you a massage.
Good boyfriend.
Yeah.
Ruined it a couple minutes later.
And so like I'm this is just a romantic massage, no funky business involved.
Right.
Like, and I'm not even saying that facetiously. I'm literally saying we actually were being good boys and girls and only giving massages. Well, one was receiving, one was giving, and
a regular massage.
And so we did, a massage with massage. Can't even say words anymore. With a shirt on. That's I mean, you can't really get in there. It's not a massage with a shirt on. So through the course of massage time, Sarah takes her shirt off. She's laying face down, so I'm not enjoying the view. I'm not supposed to be seeing anything yet. The shirt comes off and giving the massage, but also I mean kind of the bra straps are in the way, and so bra ends up being unbuckled, giving a nice decent massage now, full lotion,
okay,
getting in there. And then all of a sudden in the middle of massage time,
I still get so angry at you about this.
We hear the front door open and Mom is home, and we're like, oh crap. And so I jump off of sitting on your butt, because that's how that's how you give massages whenever you're couples. You don't have a massage table, you're sitting on someone's butt and giving a massage. And my mom comes to the door, and she knows we're there because my car's outside, or however she knows we're there, and we are not in the common space of the living room. And so I'm pretty sure she makes a beeline for my room for that.
Because your room was in the basement.
My room's in the basement. I have like this, half basement room thing, and it's like decent size. And the laundry room is also in the basement on the other side. And I feel like it's rare that my mom would, come home straight from the door, go downstairs to do laundry. So I feel like it was kind of a got to check on these kids. So we hear the door open. As soon as the door opens, like I'm up and we're just scrounging to get clothes back on. But since I'm in the basement, I can hear her footsteps. And her footsteps, she's
pretty quick.
She's a 5 foot woman, 5'0". And these footsteps are moving. You can hear the pitter patter of mom coming. And
pitter patter.
And my room actually is the exact footprint of the living room that is upstairs.
Yes.
And so the front door is on one side of my room, and then you go down to the other side of the living room, and there's the stairs, and you come down. So you hear my mom open the door. We jump up, hearts a fluttering, and she starts walking, and then we hear her walking towards the stairs. We're panicking, and like trying to figure out what to do. She's already making her way down the stairs. And so I just grab Sarah's shirt and brassiere. I throw it underneath the covers and
take off.
And then I run out of the room towards the stairs to hopefully intercept my mom on the way. I run to the edge of my door, and then I stop, and then just casually walk out. Just going to the restroom, Mom. Hey, how's it going? And I meet her at the top of it's at the top of the stairs whenever I meet her. And, my plan is to foil her plan and keep her from going downstairs. And you, in that moment, were supposed to be getting your clothes on.
Which I was.
Which you were. You were. But then, at this moment, she ignores or recognizes my efforts, and I can't say anything now. I'm already upstairs. I was supposed to be going to the restroom. She decides she's still going downstairs, and so I'm like stuck up there like, what the crap? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, because you can't just like walk back
right
down.
I can't be like, oh, never mind, I don't have to go to the bathroom. Hey, Mom, please come up here. I need to show you something right now. So I mean, the only casual thing to do was to let this play out. And I'll
never forgive you for it.
She makes it downstairs. She turns the corner into my bedroom. Sarah is laying underneath the covers.
I had no options.
The blanket up to her chin, laying on her back in my bed, blanket up to her chin, and unmoving. And my mom stands in my doorway and starts talking to you. And I have no idea what the conversation was.
I don't even remember.
I don't even know if I used the restroom. I acted like I did or something, but then I stood at the top of the stairs, listening to like what the heck is happening. I see my mom. She's just standing in the doorway talking to you for a unbearable amount of time.
Unbearable. It probably was like 30 seconds. I don't know.
But I mean, you are laying in my bed, essentially naked.
No shirt on.
Yeah, no shirt on, with the blanket up to your...
Yeah, I had no options.
Up to your chin, unmoving, and she's like shooting the breeze basically with you, asking you like, what's going on?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? And then she's like, are you...
I think she said, are you cold?
And you're like, yes. Why, yes, I am.
I was like, yeah, it's kind of cold in here.
Yeah, I'm really cold. And like...
Which, also, let's be fair, it was always cold in your house.
Yes.
So that wasn't like...
Yeah, but Son's girlfriend is...
Oh, obviously she knew.
Yeah, laying in bed, still as a statue.
Yeah, because you left me alone.
Yes, but
I understand
there was a plan involved.
Options.
And two, I mean, it was a bit of fight or flight.
Yeah,
but also my plan was to save you, and it failed, and then it resorted to you having to save yourself with no other option. And the only other option I would have is to very, very obviously
Right.
distract my mom.
Right.
And so...
And eventually she went in the other room and did a load of laundry and I could put my shirt on.
Yes.
I think this is going to be a lesson for everyone who's fooling around and don't want your parents to catch you. Never leave a shirt laying on the floor inside out, because that's what ruined me. I didn't have time to change it, turn it.
Are we giving advice to
Yes.
people, to
I
teenagers
never
fooling
want
around?
anybody to experience what I had to experience. So
You need to have your go bag ready next to it. You need to have your shirt
It may seem
not only not
meticulous.
inside out, it needs to be like kind of folded where
Ready
your
to
head
go.
where your head can go immediately into it, and just
Yes.
in one swoop movement, shirt is on.
Exactly. I'm not even kidding. It may seem like it's killing the moment a little bit. It's going to save you one of these times. I'm not even kidding you. Yeah. I'm not embarrassed about this anymore. I'm just going to use it as a lesson. Everybody needs to have your shirt ready. I'm serious.
man.
That's what ruined me, because I had my shirt, like, obviously, and I was like working, but
Right.
I got it like what is that called? Inside out.
Right.
Like I
Right side out.
right side out.
Yeah.
But I just didn't have enough time to get it right side out and over my head.
Yeah, because it would have, like, you could have gone braless with just the shirt on,
Right.
and played it off,
Right.
Like, because you could,
Yeah, you could do that.
sat in a certain way that you couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or I could have even just had the blanket, like,
right.
sitting still, though.
Yeah,
I could have been sitting.
She could have easily, been able to see your shoulders that you have a shirt on, and
Right.
like all that,
and I could have been sitting.
Yeah.
But I didn't even have the option to sit up with the blanket around me. You know what I mean? So just...
And then the finality of the story, just a little P.S. Is I was like, obviously something was up, and then I like casually like made my way into the laundry room right across from my room while my mom was in there, and I like, just saying what's up to my mom casually,
talking. Yeah.
And she said something about like why is Sarah like.
Being weird or whatever.
No, she asked something like, why is she not moving or, whatever. Basically saying like, I know what is happening. And I was like, she's like, why is she blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know. She's just weird. Like, like that fixes everything. And then we just walked out.
Also rude. Blame it all on me. Leave me to fend for myself and then blame it all on me.
I mean, I could have gone the route of, I was giving her a naked massage.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't have been good either, but...
Yes, because the one time that we did get caught making out at your parents' house, we were both grounded from each other for a
long time.
Long time. Like
Yep.
it was over a month that we were grounded from seeing each other except for at church.
Yep.
So.
We thought we were a lot careful than we were,
Well, we kind of were, because we did a lot we're not going to talk about.
We got away with a lot.
We got away with a lot. We did never cross the black and white line of the Christianity.
Yeah. Played around in the gray, though.
Yeah, we played around in the gray.
Let's not go too far into it. I forgot about that story. I've always forget about that story until you decide to tell it to one of our friends, and then I get re-embarrassed every time.
It's a pretty funny story.
I think it's like one of the more traumatic things that have happened to me, so I just block it out,
It's like one of those pillars of your personality that, if you go into counseling, you're trying to figure out like what you're.
I'm pretty sure it stems from when I was 17. And honestly, though, it might be. Maybe that's why I have such a fear of being embarrassed.
Maybe.
Which is why I'm now an advocate for it may kill the moment for just a minute, but make sure your t-shirt is ready.
I think this is actually a good segue to just keep on this train of telling good make-out stories.
Is it? Okay.
Well, I mean, we're here. I don't know when this is going to come back around. It's like,
true. Okay.
I mean, this is a good story too.
Oh gosh.
So my parents own this water park.
Yeah, I hate this story.
No, I mean, I don't know why.
It's just weird.
It's funny.
I guess. I don't think it's that funny. Go ahead.
It's funny to me.
Yeah.
So I am, we're basically around the same age now, and I've been entrusted with.
Well, we're a little older. Like, we've been together. We're pretty established at this point, and like.
Yeah, but we're still only like probably 17, 18.
Yeah, but I just mean like your parents kind of leave us alone, and you know.
And I have been entrusted with keys to the kingdom of the water park.
Yeah.
So I have a set of keys just in case I need to, like, you know, go in there and work or whatever. I don't know. And Sarah and I, you know, we don't live away from our parents. Sarah still lives at home. I still live at home.
I was in school still, like high school.
We don't have any like solid makeout spots, you know. It's like we can go parking, also, but then it's like, where do you go? And then
there's not a lot of parking spots in small towns, and everyone knows your car. Right. So then if you're parked, they're like, what are you doing? Yeah. It wasn't conducive for that.
So the water park, you know, it becomes, you know, a pretty good makeout spot whenever nobody's there. So
also, we would legitimately just go swimming after hours. We wouldn't always go and make out.
I mean, make out in the pools though, so
whatever.
I mean, it started swimming.
Okay.
Sometimes we would just swim and only make out a little bit. Sometimes we make out a lot and only swim a little bit.
I just want to point out that we're normal people.
We were 17.
Too.
Of course we were normal people.
No, I mean...
That's what 17-year-olds do.
I mean, I want your parents to know we didn't use our water park as our makeout spot all the time. We went swimming, too.
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead. It
you
doesn't
don't have
matter.
to justify the actions of a 17-year-old who is madly in love with, you know, another 17, 18-year-old. And so we make our way up to the water park, and we go in there. I don't even know if we were there for the intention of making out, but because we're 17, we start making out, of course. And we end up making out on my dad's desk. You know, as one does. And then, you know, and then we left. That was it. But then, it was like, I don't remember how much later, but maybe at least a few weeks. It could have even been like a month or more. My dad ends up telling me that there was one day that he was like driving through a splash zone because, you know, to get the mail or check on something, he saw our car in there. And so he decided to sneak in there and scare us because he knew we were there. So he goes in and he like sneaks through the gate, you know, sneaks to the door, you know, real quiet. And then he goes into the office and he stumbles upon us making out on his desk. And instead of scaring us or doing anything
like a normal dad would do,
he sneaks his way back out and just leaves.
Goes home. Which I appreciate.
Yeah.
In the moment.
Because it didn't traumatize you in the moment.
I'm glad. And I didn't find out for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't tell me that for a long time. I appreciate. Now I can look at it with removed feelings.
I mean, I would assume that my dad probably thought that we were having sex or about to. And so he was like, this was going to be too awkward you know, to even engage with. And we'd been together so long at that point, he probably was assuming we were doing it anyway.
Yeah, probably.
So, yeah, that is I don't know, a random story that fits in right now that I get to tell because I think it's funny.
Yeah, and all of our friends know the stories now, so you don't have anybody to tell it to.
Yes, and they really know it now.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah.
The whole internet.
Did that spark any
no
embarrassing stories? So I was thinking about this earlier, obviously. And I had this thought of, you know, I have these like big, I guess, embarrassing stories or whatever of like things that have happened and you know, that are trivial things. Like it was something in the moment, get caught naked in a lake, you know, type embarrassment.
Trivial.
You know, as one does.
Yeah.
But then I had this overwhelming like embarrassment like feeling because this happened just literally the other day. This happened to me. I have this thing that getting embarrassed, like cringing, like with embarrassment, thinking about things that I have said in the past, or basically that, and not that it was embarrassing in the moment, but rethinking about what I did in that moment, and now I'm like like it legitimately, like I get like like those feelings,
Right, because
of
you're a
just, like,
different person now.
and I just thought I'm not gonna tell the story because I mean, essentially I had this memory of where I was in this moment and I was like talking to somebody, and rethinking about it now, I said something that was like so like racist.
Hmm.
And I know in that moment, like, cause I can take myself back there. It wasn't that I was, had any sort of like hate or
Right.
that, type of like racism of just like that person's not as good as I am type
Right.
thing. But just the words that I said, no doubt about it, like, were racist. And I didn't know that in the moment, and I didn't think about it in the moment.
Right.
And it's now like almost 10 years later, and I was walking down the street the other day, and like for some reason that memory, like in the exact words that I said, like came up, and like I know, like I probably got red, like in the face and just like cringing, like my heart just like caving in on itself of just like, I cannot believe like that is so embarrassing that like that is in my past, and that somebody other than like a very close person to me was in that moment with me hearing that, and they maybe still have that memory of me saying that, and it's like, so I like feel
that's why I assess every situation and I decide to just stay quiet. It helps. I don't have any of those. Now, I do have, that's not to say that doesn't happen to me, because it happens to me on a daily basis, pretty much. I get so embarrassed so easy. So, like, I look back and see, like, a way that I responded, or just, like, something I said, but not necessarily that was, like, controversial, but just literally, like, I get so flustered so easy, and I don't really know, like, I'm not very good at social things, and like and so like I say something because I'm trying to, whatever, but I'm in my head too much, and so it just comes out wrong, and all these things, right? I look back and like I feel so embarrassed for myself for like days. I'm like, it's the only thing that can play in my head. And I'm just like, oh, I'm such a weirdo. Like, I can't. And so then I just like crawl in a hole and die,
Yeah.
But I don't think I have anything that's like really controversial, more so than just like, I don't know words most of the time. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say like things that I had said, were controversial.
Well,
they just, what I mean? Like,
I just didn't. I don't know what other word to.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know words.
It was more ignorant than it was like controversial. Like, just coming, from a place of ignorance.
That's the thing. Like which this gets into a completely different conversation, but like you're so many people throughout your life, and like you are a product of where you come from. Like, you're taught certain things depending on what culture you live in, right? And like it's so subconscious, like you don't even realize it until you obviously like teach yourself and you like get outside of yourself and where you're from and like learn new things, that you can realize like, oh, I mean, I knew that I was never a racist or whatever. Like I knew that I'm not that person, but I didn't realize like what the culture I live in looks like. And when you live in middle America, when you live in Oklahoma, like, I mean, that's just unfortunately
right
how it is. There's like this underlying thing that you just don't even recognize growing up until you're a little older and can really like, I don't know, see it
right
from an outside perspective.
Yeah, you mature, which gives you the ability of hindsight.
Right.
Which then looking back at your young,
and it gives you
self,
the ability to understand other people. Like when you're young, it's hard to understand. It's hard to even fathom the idea of understand. Like, what does that even mean? You know, that's not in your brain like at all.
Yeah, like something it's not embarrassing. It's more so just like, I mean, just regretting it and like.
Is it humiliation? Is that different?
Well, no, I'm thinking about specifically like I now regret not learning Spanish like whenever I was a kid.
Yeah, I do too.
Because I know I can remember all the times, like, because we had Spanish in grade school and junior high and in high school. I could have actually paid attention
every single year,
any of those classes, and actually learned Spanish. Like I know, I mean, I know like a dozen Spanish words. Like it's like nowhere near like anywhere like to be able to understand or speak it.
Yeah.
And I took, well, I guess I didn't take. I was sat in a class learning Spanish for how many ever years that was. Didn't learn a single thing of it. And I know that part of that was because of just being a stupid kid growing up in Oklahoma and being ignorant and saying like, why do I need to learn Spanish? Like if other people are coming to my country,
right,
then they need to learn my language. Like I'm not going to learn their language because they're coming to my country.
Right.
And it's like, quit being a stupid a-hole. You know what I mean? Like it's like I want to like go back to older me, like go back to younger me, and there's more than I would say than just learn Spanish, but like but specifically like that, like don't be like so ignorant. Like,
right.
Just learn Spanish because there are more people in this world than just the few million Americans. Like
right.
This
I
will help you.
That's the key. Is it's not necessarily like about people coming here, whatever it is. It's like just the realization that there's more than America.
Yeah.
Which Americans don't learn until they're older. Like it's just, I mean, especially if you don't live on the coasts, especially. Yeah. It's just like America is what it is, and it's the thing.
Mm-hmm. But because like in that era and in that area of the country that I grew up in, it was, I just felt that way in, whenever I was in grade school or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And so it's like I knew I wasn't going to learn Spanish because of people coming to my country, and I obviously wasn't going to go visit Mexico.
Yeah.
And if I was going to speak English because I'm American. It's like just stupid, ignorant, rural American thinking.
Right.
And it's like stuff like that is so.
I think it's
I'm
really
not even like it's beyond embarrassment. Like I don't really think about it and be like, man, I'm so embarrassed by that. I'm more just like.
I think it's more heartbreaking.
Like regret. Like,
yeah. It's just like a little heartbreaking that that is the way that a lot of people grow up and don't experience something different. I think like I think we're really lucky to have like gone the way that we did and to like find it in ourselves to like realize that like, okay, look, like this is not cool or like something's off here. I'm going to figure out what it is. Like we didn't have to move away to figure that out. Like we lived in Oklahoma until we were 28, right? Like but there are a lot of people who live in rural America. I don't want to just single out Oklahoma. But that's where I'm from. So who live there their entire life and just like it just happens like because you don't get away from it or like you don't even I don't know pay attention, and so you just become it. And it's so heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's just not. It's the lack of having a broad experience or like a broad experience, like
right.
You know what I mean? Like just not having knowledge of,
or just experiencing a lot. You experience the same thing over and over and over and over again. Eventually, it's going to plant itself.
Right.
It's
the
just
isolation
like,
and the lack of experience.
It's
with other people.
just like how if somebody says to you over and over and over and over again that you are not worth anything, you believe you're not worth anything, even though that's not true, and even though like somewhere in your brain you think like, but maybe it's fine, like maybe I'm okay, but you're gonna believe what people tell you. That's just how it is. So like, unless of course you do a lot of really hard work, and unfortunately in middle America you're just in a bubble. And it's very easy to not do a lot of hard work. Yeah.
And it's still like that today because I have read the Facebook comments that come through on some of my family members, like posts that they will do. And I will read some of the comments under there. And it,
what gets me?
Makes me so angry.
What gets me sometimes about that is like, I just want to, like, somebody makes some comment, some like awful, like, malicious comment about a Democrat or something. Very, very petty, like whatever. I just want to comment to that person who knows me. You know, and just be like, did you know that you're talking to me right now? Like you're threatening me, even though we're friends. Like,
let me put a face with that comment,
please. And I think that's the important thing in everything is like put a face to to the situation. You know, like that quote that says like, there's not a person you can't love once you've learned their story. I think that's true. I think.
What if their story is they're a serial killer?
Obviously that gets a little dicey. But
I have a biography of Hitler you should read.
I do think that you can kind of like examine somebody's. I don't really want to say Hitler. I feel no sympathy for Hitler, but like I think you can like examine somebody's life and still see maybe why they chose to go the direction they did. Right. Or like most of the time. Because there is stories like that. Yeah, most of the time, awful people didn't start out awful. Like I would argue that nobody really starts out awful. Like when you're born, you're innocent. That's the whole point, right? And so like I do think that you can kind of look at somebody's life and examine and at least understand where they're coming from versus like I don't think I'm ever going to feel sympathy for certain people, for certain individuals. I'm like, okay, you made your choices. Like, let's just whatever. But I do think that you can at least try to see why they did what they did. And that makes you a more empathetic individual. And that's how you should be.
Empathy.
Yes. I very much believe in empathy.
I wonder if that is part of your embarrassing, like the reason that
yes, I feel like I get embarrassed for people. Like I feel their embarrassment, or like even if they're not embarrassed, but I see like, you know, somebody else is like, oh, okay, what is this guy doing? I'm like, oh, let me just protect them. Like I feel so sad. Yeah. Oh yeah. I 100% believe that.
Because you're so high on the empathy scale.
Very, yeah.
Like you can't handle embarrassment in your own life because you can barely handle witnessing something embarrassing.
Yeah. Like we have a friend, his name is Wes. Shout out Wes, love you. I used to get like so embarrassed around him, not because I love him to death. He's hilarious. He has no semblance of embarrassment. Like it just doesn't happen for him. He just goes around shouting and screaming and being himself, and it's wonderful and beautiful. And I'm just over here like, oh, please don't judge him. Like I love him so much, and he has such a good heart. But I'm like so terrified that somebody's gonna
like he is 0% embarrassed,
right? And
you are all embarrassed.
Yes, I'm 100 and he's 0. Yeah.
There are 2 videos on our channel that Wes and his then fiance, Lindsay, but now wife, was a part of. And I'll link those in the show notes because it actually both of the videos have very clear examples of what Sarah's talking about, and we even actually I think talk about the fact that like his wife now and Sarah were very embarrassed by the situation that was happening.
I do love hanging out with Wes because of that, though. Like he really teaches me like that it's fine and most people aren't paying attention to you, or that like they're just gonna find you funny, you know. So I appreciate that about him, but I do have to like I have to adjust every time I'm around him. I'm like, okay, I feel so embarrassed, but it's fine.
Actually, here's a really good question that we get this question a lot from our videos. That we have quite a few people who will ask like, how do you go out in the world in the middle of New York City, you know, in restaurants and stores and all these places, and like vlog, like hold up a camera that is not inconspicuous at all.
No.
It is a large camera. It's drawing attention and talking to a camera, which in itself has a baseline of being embarrassing.
Right.
And then like you actually are carrying this gear that's like big. So you avoid being embarrassed at all cost.
Yes.
And yet we go out multiple times a week.
And
film. And even you have done that by yourself too. Like in LA, you've done it by yourself. Even in New York, you've done that by yourself. So how do you, like, I guess answer their question. Like, how do you go out and do that and not get embarrassed?
First of all, I don't feel embarrassed by talking to a camera. at all. Like it actually, it feels pretty natural to me, which is, I wouldn't have expected that of myself.
It's because her dad is a cyclops. He has one large eye right in the middle of his face. And so talking to a camera is like pretty normal.
Yeah. Yeah. So like talking to a camera doesn't embarrass me. Although I will say if I'm filming a video like for my own channel at home sitting down and Cody is like working, I get embarrassed starting the video because somebody else is in the room. So like I usually make him put headphones in and like turn up music really loud or something so he doesn't hear me at least start the video. Mm-hmm. But once I'm into the video, I don't care. So I don't know what that's.
I would say I don't know. Piggyback on that. That is literally the only time for me too that like even I'm not embarrassed around you, but like when we're out in public, starting the video with people around is embarrassing to me.
Yeah,
like once we're in the video and I'm like telling the story or like I'm in like even like pulling out the camera and starting to talk, but I've already began the story.
Exactly.
So like I'm into it.
It's kind of like tunnel vision.
Initial like shalom, like we're blah blah blah, like that part of it, like there is a little wave of embarrassment that I have to get over.
Yeah, I think also speaking to like out filming, for me it's a little bit of tunnel vision because I don't actually notice anybody else when we're filming. Mm-hmm. Like when I'm looking at the camera, talking, walking, whatever, like I don't actually notice if anybody else is watching us or what's happening. So it's a little bit of tunnel vision, which is nice because I can just pretend like it's not happening. Another thing is like in bigger cities, I don't know what it's like in smaller cities because we didn't really film that much in Tulsa. I mean, we did a couple videos, whatever, but like actually walking around filming, like we didn't really do that. So like in New York and in LA, there's so much going on that generally speaking, nobody cares what you're doing. So I think just the idea that there's like so much happening around you, it makes it feel a little better because you're not the only thing that's like weird or standing out, Mm-hmm. I think that's it. But mostly I think it's just like I'm not embarrassed to talk to a camera. That it starts from there. Like it feels natural to me to talk to a camera. And like who I am on camera is exactly who I am in real life. That like right. I can't, there's no different like personality there. Like I don't even just like instinctively like get more excited or whatever. Like I'm just who I am on camera is who I am. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think just practicing being natural on camera and everything else comes naturally eventually.
Yeah. It wasn't an easy start for you. Like I had to talk you into making videos for years. Like for like doing your book videos and all that type of stuff. Like we like me and your friends, like we told you to do that for years and like tried to talk you into it, even like had you make like fake videos just to practice like before like you edited one, like so it wasn't that you immediately just started doing it.
No, I didn't understand. I thought that I wasn't comfortable.
It was more the hurdle of the first time because once you actually like after your first one you were like, oh, I
was like, oh, that was super easy. Okay.
Yeah. But what I think is super fascinating is that you hate being the center of attention. Like you hate drawing attention to yourself.
Yes.
And you avoid embarrassment at all cost.
Yes.
And yet, like going out and vlogging draws attention to you.
Yes.
And, potentially is embarrassing.
Yeah.
Depending on how you feel about it.
Right.
But that doesn't matter. Like.
Right.
Like.
I can't explain it. I do know that I am a contradiction, so.
That is true.
I don't know. I can't explain it, really. I don't know why.
And even, like, you are anxiety prone.
Yes.
But yet, like, anxiety, well, you don't even have anxiety about it. But, like a lot of people, they would maybe, like, work up the courage to, like, go out and, like, film or something. But then they wouldn't actually turn on the camera because their anxiety would, like, build up and, like, I can't do it.
I'm mostly like that with other people. But it's not because of the camera, it's because of other people. Like, I've only really felt comfortable filming, like, on my own in front of you and, like, my two best friends that I've, like, gone traveling with. But if I'm with somebody that I don't know like the most, I don't pull out a camera. I'm terrified about it. And also, like, I think a prime example is like when we first started hanging out with Sarah Dici, and like she brought her vlogging camera around, which I knew. I mean, we were vlogging too. It's totally fine. But like, I didn't talk, like, I didn't know like what to even say, or, you know, like, but it's not because of the camera, it's because like I didn't know Sarah that well.
Yeah.
Or like when we went to their pop-up thing that they had, and like John asked all of us like, what'd you guys think of it? You know, I was like, I didn't know. Obviously the answer is it was amazing, but I didn't know how to say that because I didn't know John that well. So I don't know. It's mostly people that I don't know what that means about me.
Yeah.
Because I love people, but I also am so embarrassed in front of people, so who knows.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Contradiction.
Yep. And I can't really articulate it. Like, I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure there's like words to why I'm a weirdo, but I can't articulate it, so I don't know.
Does that embarrass you?
No. Mostly just makes me question like who I am.
It doesn't embarrass me. It just makes me question literally everything about my entire life.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I just think like if you get comfortable being in front of a camera, everything else will like become comfortable too, eventually. Like it has to, right? Also, it's kind of nice that it is tunnel vision. Like when you're filming, especially filming yourself talking to a camera, it's literally it's like a one-track mind. You can't think of anything else. So the fact that there's other people standing next to you doesn't even faze you.
I have always like, I've never really been embarrassed by it per se. Like, I'm not saying that there isn't moments of embarrassment, but just
there
like,
definitely are.
Like ultimately though, I've never really been embarrassed to do it or embarrassed by it. And I've always been confident, even when we were like in Tulsa, or we'd even go to Enid and like, you know, like the small town, and like we had, you know, our camera out and we were like filming and all that type of stuff. But I will say, I definitely gained confidence just from frequency. Like we do it all the time, so I'm more confident in it. But then also there is a side of it that just the validation of the audience growing does make me more confident in doing it, because I'm not out here like, it just feels a little bit different. Like it just starts to change of like, I'm not out here just making videos of myself and like, you know, whatever. And
though that is a good excuse to do anything. Right.
I mean, we did, that's how we started. That's why we started. And I got over all of those feelings. Like I would confidently go do it, but I'm just like trying to articulate the fact that as the numbers of the audience grew, so did my confidence in being able to just go out in any situation and vlog, because it has become like, it is my job. Like it's not like, hey, what are you doing? It's like, oh, I'm just like making a home video, you know, or whatever. It's like, oh, I am a YouTuber. Like this is the video that I'm making. This is what I do. You know, it's like I guess it's kind of like in any career, I suppose, just like, the first day of work, you're very insecure and like not confident in like, you know, whatever, you know, weeks go by, you end up being there for a year, and like now you know the ins and outs of the business, you know your role, and like, this is my job, what do you call that? Your description. Like, you know your job description really well, so you know exactly what you do, you know how to do it. If somebody came in and asked you like, you know, hey, we're adding to the department, can you teach them how to do these things? You're like, oh yeah, of course. Like it's like painting a picture of, you know, that everybody can understand, of gaining that confidence over like time of doing it, and gaining just
like validation
or whatever it is. I basically applying that to looking at YouTube and what we're doing now as like a job, with the increased time and with the increased audience. I'm just now like fearless, essentially, like of like going out and doing it.
The only thing that like still stops me like if we're filming out, is like, okay, well, how close are these people and what kind of setting are we in?
Definitely.
Because you always want to be conscious of like not disturbing the peace, you know?
Yeah, but that doesn't really have anything. That is more about being a decent human being than it has to do with being embarrassed by what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like there are some people who go to Starbucks to work and then they take a phone call, a business phone call, and they're screaming at the phone. It's like, that's the same as if we were to walk into Starbucks, sit down, and start screaming at our camera really loud. So
I really dislike when that happens.
yes. Yeah, so
there's that.
I think that's the end. Just a reminder, this podcast is sponsored by betterhelp.com/Jensen. It is a amazing counseling service, and it's an alternative to the high-cost in-person counseling services that you may find, but you get the same quality of counseling just through technology.
Yep.
So you can get it as affordable as $35 a week. You can check it out by going to betterhelp.com/Jensen. Thank you guys for listening to this podcast. We appreciate the comments, the ratings on iTunes, and all the things, sharing it with your friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.